The movie began in a small, isolated countryside village that was completely cut off from the outside world. August Nicholson was seen mourning the death of his son, Daniel Nicholson. Everyone in the village attended the mourning feast and expressed gratitude to God for the time he had given them. There was a governing body called the elders who ruled over the village. They made the rules which the villagers followed. Suddenly, they heard a growling sound emanating from the nearby Covington woods, which frightened everyone except Noah Percy, who was mentally unstable. Noah began to enjoy the growling, prompting a man sitting nearby to stop him. Two young women were sweeping the floor when they spotted a red flower sprouting near the house. One of the women hurried over to the plant, uprooted it, and buried it in panic. What caused her to do this would be revealed as the story progressed. A man from the village, wearing a cloak, stood guard on the watchtower, keeping a vigilant eye on Covington Woods. In the woods, a mysterious reflection was seen in the running water, someone wearing a red cloak. Edward Walker, a member of the elders, approached a group of children and discovered the carcass of a skinned creature. He took the children to his class, as he was a history professor. The students explained that they had found the dead creature with its head twisted back. Mr. Walker asked who could have committed such a heinous act, to which the students replied, "Those who we do not speak of had killed the creature." In truth, creatures lived in Covington Forest that the villagers never liked to talk about. Mr. Walker told the students that these creatures had not breached their borders for many years, and the villagers had likewise never ventured into the woods, maintaining a truce. A man named Lucius Hunt approached the elders and read a note to them. It stated that Daniel Nicholson had passed away from illness, and other recent events had weighed heavily on his mind. He asked for permission to cross the forbidden woods and travel to the nearest town to gather medicine. He was certain the creatures in the woods would let him pass, as they could sense emotion and fear. The elders stared at him but did not give him permission. Some villagers spotted the skinned dead creatures on the farm and reported it to the elders. Tabitha Walker, wife of Edward Walker, told the restless villagers that what they had seen was likely a predator of some kind, most likely a coyote or a wolf. Its manner of killing, removing the fur but leaving the flesh torn, might be a sign the animal had gone mad. She advised them to be vigilant for the next fortnight and assured them that the elders did not believe the creatures from the woods were responsible, as those creatures were much larger than coyotes. After that, she dismissed the gathering. Kitty Walker told her father, Edward, that she loved Lucius Hunt, though he did not yet know of her feelings for him. She asked Edward for his permission to marry Lucius. Edward did not sadden Kitty and allowed her to proceed, making her feel like she was on cloud nine. Overwhelmed by her overflowing feelings, Kitty arrived at Lucius's house and told him that she was in love with him.
I love you, Lucius. Like the day is long. I love you more than the long.
Lucius stood still for a moment and then rejected her love. Noah was playing with the other children of the village, but soon the play turned into a scuffle. A young blind woman named Ivy Walker, Edward's younger daughter, came and asked Noah to stop the fight immediately. Noah obeyed her as he felt for her, despite being mentally unstable. He made a deal with Ivy that he would never hurt anyone from then onwards. Afterward, he and Ivy ran up the hill to the resting rock where they found Lucius already sitting alone. Ivy complained to Lucius that he caused her sister Kitty to cry a lot after rejecting her love, but Lucius stayed silent. At the same time, Noah ran into the woods. Ivy told Lucius that she knew why he rejected her sister's love.
I know why you denied my sister.
Meanwhile, Noah came back from the woods with some red berries. He gave it to Ivy, but Lucius warned her that she was holding the berries with the bad color. In truth, the red color was considered ill omen in the village, as the red color attracted the creatures from the woods. Lucius asked Noah where he found them, to which Noah pointed toward the woods. Lucius read a note to the elders, explaining that Noah had handed Ivy Walker berries of a bad color from the woods. Lucius told the elders that he believed Noah had ventured into the woods on many occasions. He also believed that because of Noah's innocence, the creature residing in the woods did not harm him. In this way, the creatures wouldn't harm him and would let him pass if they sensed he wasn't a threat. Because of Lucius's stubbornness about going to the town, Alice, Lucius's mother, revealed to him that one day, when his father left for the market, he was found robbed and naked in the filthy river 2 days later. Lucius burst into tears and asked Alice why she had told him that. Alice replied she wanted him to understand the true nature of what he desired. The next day, Lucius and some others from the village went to mark the light post while wearing yellow cloaks. At one point, Lucius stopped and stepped into the woods without informing the others. There, he found red berries and saw a figure roaming in the silent woods. He quickly turned around and left the woods with a twig of berries. Ivy told Lucius that Kitty had found love again with Christoph Crane, and with her marriage, she was now free to receive interest from anyone.
She's found love. I'm now free to receive interest from anyone.
Fenton was at the watchtower guarding the town. Soon, he heard a loud thump from below. He opened the trapdoor in hopes that Lucius had arrived, but all he found was a creature wandering beneath the watchtower. Fenton was shaking in his shoes. He braced himself and rang the warning bell, alerting the villagers in time. In the blink of an eye, panic broke out among the villagers, prompting them to take shelter in their homes immediately.
Close the door. No one will.
Lucius hid behind a house just in time before a creature approached. Kitty told Ivy to get inside immediately, but Ivy said that Lucius was outside. Ivy extended her hand outside the porch and waited for Lucius to return. At the same time, the creature began coming closer to her, but at the last moment, Lucius returned and took her inside. He held her hand and descended into the basement to avoid the creature. The following morning, all the houses in the village were marked by the creatures with red marks, but no one knew why the creatures had done this. This is Vivian Percy read aloud, a note left by Lucius Hunt, who took responsibility for the sightings of the creature in the village. In the note, he confessed that he had crossed the forbidden line into Covington Woods and witnessed the creature there. Through his confession, Lucius admitted his blunder. To appease the creatures, the elders sent raw flesh into the woods. Kitty was getting married to Christoph Crane, and everyone enjoyed themselves at the party. Soon, the party was disrupted by a scream. A few children informed Mr. Walker that the creatures had left more warnings in the village. So Edward and the villagers returned to their houses and found skinned carcasses hanging from their doors. Ivy was sleeping in her room when she sensed that Lucius was outside on her porch. She approached him and sat down with him facing the fields covered in frost. She told him that the elders were going to have an inquiry the following day, and each member of the village was to be questioned in the meeting hall to see how the border was breached. Ivy asked Lucius if he would like to dance with her when they were married. By revealing his feelings for Ivy, Lucius replied affirmatively and said that he would dance with her on their wedding night. Following this, they shared a kiss in the frosty night. The news that Ivy and Lucius were getting married spread like wildfire in the village.
We were informed early this morning of their...
The mentally unfit Noah learned this and came to Lucius's house. In the twinkling of an eye, he stabbed Lucius in the abdomen for marrying Ivy, as he also loved her very much and he never wanted to share her with anyone. Lucius collapsed to the floor and passed out because of too much bleeding. After gravely injuring Lucius, Noah returned home with his hands stained in blood. When Ivy and Kitty were leaving for the meeting hall, two ladies rushed over to them and told them that Noah Percy had been with quarts of blood upon his clothes and hands, and the blood didn't belong to Noah. All the villagers began to search for a hurt person in the village, but Ivy had sensed that something had happened to Lucius. So she rushed to his house. She knocked on the door while calling Lucius, but Lucius didn't reply, as he was lying almost dead on the floor. Ivy stepped forward and found something near her feet. She knelt down and tried to feel it, only to realize that Lucius was lying motionless on the floorboards. Soon Mr. Walker and the others came into the house and found Lucius gravely hurt. Mr. Walker ordered the others to take his daughter away, while she was bursting into tears. Ivy arrived at Percy's house and repeatedly slapped him for doing such a heinous act. Ivy told her father that she was in love with Lucius and Lucius was also in love with her. She then asked permission to travel through Covington Woods to fetch medicines for him from the towns. Mr. Walker approached other elders and told them that Lucius had an incurable infection which they could not fix themselves. The elders said to him, "We can only pray for Lucius."
I know the thing that is in your head to the towns. You have taken the oath.
After getting no solution to the problem from other elders, Edward returned and took Ivy to an old shed which had never been used in years. On his way to the cabin, Edward told Ivy that her grandfather, James Walker, was the wealthiest man in the town. If was given $1, in less than a fortnight, he would have turned it into 5. Edward said to Ivy, "You do not know of money, as it is not a part of our life here. Money can be a wicked thing, since it can turn men's hearts black and my father couldn't see this. One day, he died in his sleep when a man shot him to death in the town. Afterward, Edward unlocked the door while asking Ivy to do her best not to scream.
Do your very best not to scream.
What?
Afterward, Edward gathered other elders and told them that Ivy asked his permission to go to the town to fetch medicines for Lucius.
To go to the town.
Stop.
Ivy's brother-in-law, Kristoff, refused to accompany her to the town for fear of the creatures and fled in fear. Fenton and Ivy set up a makeshift tent to avoid the rain. Later, Fenton also left Ivy in the lurch, explaining that the creature would not harm her as she couldn't see them. They would take pity on her the way they took pity on Noah. After that, Fenton left on his way. Now the story flashed back to when Edward had taken Ivy into the old shed. Edward had asked Ivy to step forward, and she would find something a few steps ahead. Ivy followed him only to feel a creature's claws. She screamed in fear, but Edward asked her not to be frightened and revealed to her that it was only a farce, not any real creature. Edward said to Ivy, "There are rumors of creatures in these woods. It is in one of the history books I used to teach in the towns." Ivy then questioned him about the screams from the woods, to which Edward replied that the elders created those sounds to keep the villagers terrified, as they didn't want anyone to go to the towns. Ivy then questioned him about the skinned animals. Edward answered that there was always one of the elders who was responsible for this. Edward asked her daughter to forgive their lies since they were not meant to harm anyone. Edward handed her a piece of paper on which he had written a tool of medicine that was required to cure Lucius. This revealed that the rumors of creatures residing in Covington Woods were false. It was a setup to keep the villagers off the towns where the greedy people lived. Edward told Ivy not to tell anyone in the town where they lived and return with haste. 2 men would escort her to Covington Woods. Edward told the elders that he had sent Ivy to the town to fetch medicine for Lucius, leaving the elders shocked. The rest of the elders had a fallout with Edward at this, saying that he had jeopardized everyone. Then Edward explained Ivy and Lucius are the ones who will continue the place after them. Back in the woods, with the help of a stick, Ivy continued to the town while passing through the woods. A few steps ahead, she unfortunately slipped into a slippery pit. However, she later managed to get out of it. Ivy heard the snapping of twigs around her and grew alert. She began to cross the woods fast by extending her both hands forward to sense any barrier ahead. She stopped at a place not knowing that she was standing among the red berries. Soon a man wearing a farce showed up in the woods, staring at Ivy while she sensed him around her and kept saying to herself, "It's not real." Before long, the creature charged at Ivy, who sharply led him to the pit and made him fall into it. Back in the village, Robert and Vivian entered Noah's room, but all they could see was that Noah had discovered their hidden red cloak from the floorboards, using which they had been terrifying other villagers. In the pit, it is revealed that it was Noah in the red suit who had put on their parents' suit to kill Ivy for not loving him back, and she was trying to save Lucius. Noah died in the very pit. Sometime later, Ivy managed to cross the woods and reach the road. She quickly took off her yellow cloak and headed to the main road. She ran into a boundary wall which used to restrict the townspeople from entering the woods. Ivy got over the protective wall and was spotted by a patrolling police officer named Kevin. Kevin got off the vehicle and looked at Ivy, speculating that she was from old times. So he asked her where she was from, to which she replied that she lived in Covington Woods, baffling Kevin. Afterwards, she handed him a prescription letter and told him that she needed to find a doctor of medicine. She gave him a locket as payment. Kind-hearted Kevin returned to his office and secretly stole some medicine from there. Apart from the medicine, he asked his superior for a maintenance ladder as he needed to fix a sign along the road. Ivy returned to the forest after obtaining the necessary medicines. It was later discovered that Kevin had taken the ladder for Ivy so she could easily climb up the wall. Vivian broke down in tears, after learning that Noah had died in the forest while scaring Ivy.
We will give
Edward told Vivian and Robert that they would tell the others Noah was killed by the creatures in the forest. In addition, their son had made their stories real. Noah had given them a chance to continue this place. Sometime later, Ivy returned to the village with the medicine. She held Lucius's hand and told him she was back.
I'm back, Lucius.